So how is everybody today? A little rainy. So anyways, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, mostly series books. I like to read series, just like a soap opera. You watch each episode and something may be resolved each episode, but the characters develop each book. Or we're doing Star Trek Next Generation Fridays. Please check that out. And we it's a serial. It's the characters grow from episode to episode. We like to binge watch series. We like to binge read books. So we're doing all that. So today we are back with our favorite vampires. And this is book 18 in the Argeneau series. And Lynsay Sands' Immortal Ever After. And I usually go through my listing here. What you want? But this book, we actually catch up with the core. I had the core group. We've talked about that many, many times. Please check out my other videos, like book 1 through 9, through Marguerite's, through all the siblings, all the cousins, all the relationships from those books. But we finally, Anders, who has existed through the entire series, who has been an extra, he's an enforcer with Lucian's thing. All right, so let's back up just a little bit. This is the Argeneau family. They are vampires. They are good vampires. They drink from the bag, not like Lioness's people, who drink from the neck. Just like at stakes, we have the Romans vampires, and then we have the others, the malcontents, that drink from the neck. But these are the Argeneaus, and they're vampires. If you can get past the nanos, deal with it. But we've had all the family members. We've had Lisette, Lynsay Anna, Mary, Mr. Hewitt, and Lucerne, and Lee, and Bastion, and Elvie, and Victor, all of them. This book, we catch up with a lot of the characters that we haven't seen for a long time, which is good. It was good to catch up and find out what's going on. There is also impending birth coming from Lucian and Lee, so you'll have to stay tuned to find out what happens to that. There's a little twisty surprise. And so we start the book off with Valerie. She was out walking her dog, and she got captured by a vampire and was taken to his lair, his house, townhouse, whatever. And she was put in a cage with other women, taking all her clothes off. In the cage, she was fed once a day, and if they were not fed, then that means they were going to be the food for the master vampire, whoever he was. And she just she hadn't seen the head guy yet, but the guy that was taking care of them, she had a little personal fun. She just called him Igor, like in all the vampire movies, Igor. So she managed to escape one day and call 911, and she was successful in staking Igor, although he did not die, but she didn't know that at the time. And she called 911, and she was like, "You may think this is crazy, blah, 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 but you got to come. There's hostages holding." So then she escapes. She goes out the window. And apparently the Argeneau's enforcers listened to the 911 radio just for this type of event. So the cops got there first, and they were doing this investigation, and they were like, "Oh my God, all the stuff, all these captives, all these ladies in the jail, the dead bodies, the whole 9 yards." But the Argeneaus come in and discover, oh, this is a real thing. So they erase all the cops' minds. They erase all the living victims' minds, but Valerie, because they couldn't find Valerie to begin with. And then Anders, who's been with the group, he's been an enforcer. He's been through all the books. He's a constant extra character. He finally gets his story. So he goes to use his powers on her, and he can't. And that's the number one signal for a life mate. And he's like, after all this time, after 18 books, Anders is finally getting his life mate. So She wakes up. They take her back to the house. They get Danny, Mortimer's Danny or Decker's. I forget who's. Remember all those cabin books? Oh yeah, Decker. So Decker and Danny from Immortal Hunter. That's when we were doing the enforcers. We were doing Garrett, Decker, and Justin. Justin's still hanging out, and Anders. So they take her back to Lucian's house, and it's revealed that she's Anders' life mate. And they got to heal her first. And Lee is massively pregnant, and she's eating all the time. And we have all the relationship banks, the getting to know you thing, the uh, the discovery of what happened. They get the story out of her. Um, Marguerite shows up and figures out what's going on with the life story. And as you know, Marguerite is the family matchmaker. And after Valerie wakes up, because she's been in a little bit of a coma, 24-hour, 48-hour coma, because they've been trying to heal her. She had a bad infection, she had wounds. She wakes up and she's like, oh my God, I was walking my dog. So they try and find the dog, and they're unsuccessful. The dog's not in any pound anywhere. He's not been reported DOA by any of the vets. They have nothing. So it turns out that her elderly neighbor, who was always very cranky and critical about the dog, had a secret desire that she wanted the dog. So when Valerie disappeared, she took Roxy in, and when people came looking for Roxy, she denied it. And then when the Argeneau showed up and read the elderly lady's mind, and it was clear as day, they're trying to tell her, Valerie, that this woman secretly wanted the dog and craved the dog and wanted the dog for her own. And she was happy that you did not show up again. And that's why she hadn't reported the dog missing. She hadn't reported Valerie missing. She'd done none of that because she was happy she had the dog. So then they get the dog back, and the dog's all happy. And then we have several chapters of getting Anders and Valerie getting to know each other and a lot mushy romance. And he's got to break the news to her, what he is, stuff like that. Will she accept it? Will she agree to be turned? In the meantime, they have Garrett. He was in our very first book, Garrett and Lysiana. He was the psychiatrist. They come in, they have him hypnotize her. She does the sketch thing for the thing. And we have a new bad guy. And they figure out who the new bad guy is in this series. Besides the Lioness group, we have another new bad guy. Do we catch the bad guy? Do we catch Igor? Do we find out who Igor is? Does Lee have her child? Or maybe since Lucian is a twin, hint, 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 there might be a surprise or two down the road. So there's a lot left hanging here. So I'm assuming that, what's the next one? In 6? All right, this is 18. Where's my thing? Let me look for a second. So I'm assuming that our story will be continued in here, and we will do this one in the next coming days. One Lucky Vampire. This is 19. So we will, and then we will do Vampire Most Wanted. But right now, we are talking about Immortal Ever After, and Anders has finally got his story. There's a whole bunch of cliffhanging down here, so I'm sure that the story will be continued in the next book, and it's like a soap opera. A lot of these books have, a lot of Lyndsay's books have 3 books that are connected to each other, so I guess we'll be talking about putting the books together like I've done in previous podcasts. So, and please hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job, because I have no special effects. It's just me reading books, talking about books. I have no theme song. I have no anything. I even lost my website because I don't have no money. And that had over 10,000 genealogical records on it. Go figure. Gone. Split second. Boom. Poof. Tell that to Ancestry. But anyway, oh, so we have a new bad guy, and we have Anders and Valerie getting to know each other. So that'll be continued in the next book. Lee and Lucian, what did they have? Did they have a boy? Did they have a girl? Did they have two girls? Did they have two boys? There's a whole lot of mystery going on there. So please check out our favorite vampires and check it out. Have a good one.